I had another video planned for today, but then one of my oldest videos I had uploaded, the best skateboarding life hacks, got a copyright strike. So I decided to remake it because it was one of my best performing videos, and it was also in a dire need of an update. So in today's video, I'll be sharing some of my favorite skateboarding life hacks that I found and used myself that will make your life of a skateboarder a whole lot easier. So without taking up any more time, let's just jump right into it. Number 1, shoelace hacks. Let's start at the bottom, your shoelaces. Depending on what shoes you're wearing or how you skate, they could be about the only thing that break more often than your boards. But there are a few things that you can do to help reduce, if not stop, the wear completely. The first and easiest thing you can do is add some dabs of glue to your shoelaces. I typically do this when I first start seeing wear on the shoelaces, so I know exactly where to apply the glue. Any glue can work for this, anything from super glue to hot glue, but what I find works best is any kind of silicone based glue. It keeps the flexibility and the natural stretch that your shoelaces already have, while also protecting your board and your laces at the same time, because with some harder glues, your grip tape could end up getting scratched off, or your laces become brittle and crack, or just keep getting worse over time. You could also go with the tried and true method of melting your laces. Oh, you've never heard of that? Well, let me enlighten you. With some shoelaces, typically ones made out of a nylon blend, you can melt the laces. Not too much, but just the right amount to get the fibers to stick to each other and even bind them back together after they snap. You can also apply some of that same direct heat from a lighter onto your nylon laces after you just put them on your shoe to make the parts that come in contact with your board harder and more resistant to wear. Yes, it's kind of weird and it does definitely work, but don't overdo it or else you'll melt your laces and then you'll just have broken laces all over again. What's the point of that? Number 2, melt your shoes. Okay, don't actually melt your shoes. I know, got something about melting, but sometimes when you get some new shoes, they just don't feel right. Maybe they feel too small or they feel too stiff, and you might even skate worse because of it. This is known as the break-in period for your shoes. Basically the point in time that your shoes need to be able to form around your feet and get used to bending in the way that you want them to, or the way that you bend them the most in. But one thing that you can do to speed up this process is to microwave your shoes. Yes, you heard me right. Microwave your shoes. Now, I know it sounds insane, and it kind of is. It takes a bit of an insane person to think of this, but there is a bit of science to all the madness. All you need to do is put your brand new shoes in the microwave for a few seconds at a time to a minute, and then instantly start wearing them and walking around in them. When they get heated up, they get more flexible, and they stretch the rubber around your feet, making them feel a lot more worn in, a lot quicker than it would take you to skate in them or walk around in. You can also do the same method in a preheated oven, but just make sure to keep an eye on them and don't forget about them, or else you're gonna have a molten puddle of plastic and cloth instead of a pair of shoes. And if you're just scared to mess up your brand new shoes by putting them in the microwave, which you honestly should be, you can also stimulate hours of wear by running them over in a car for a few minutes, or just throwing them on a busy interstate. The choice is honestly yours. Wax your board to get more pop. Okay, if melting shoelaces or putting shoes in the microwave didn't throw you off, this one definitely will. This is the weirdest thing imaginable, but it does actually work. Waxing a nose or the tail of your deck will in fact make you pop higher. Don't believe me? Try it yourself and let me know what happens. But let me break down this bro science for all you common folk. You see, when you wax something, it makes it slide easier. It also makes you slide faster. Why is that? Friction. So, less friction equals faster slide equals easier to slide equals better slide. Now when you pop to do an ollie, the tail of your board must come in contact with the ground. And most of the ground that you're skating on has quite a lot of friction, or at least it's rough. And if you think about it, it always seems like you can ollie higher on a really smooth cement, right? Well, that's because there's less friction slowing down your pop. So by waxing the tail of your board, you reduce friction, overall increasing your pop. Still don't believe me? Well, just try it, let me know what you think. It's kind of more of a personal preference, but I do believe it does have some merit. There are also a few other things that wax is useful for, aside from waxing rails and ledges, and the tail or nose of your board. And that is waxing any part of the deck that comes in contact with the wheels. This will dramatically help with wheel bite and increase the chance of you saving yourself when you inevitably get it. You can even see Aaron Jaws doing this when ollieing over Leon 25. So if the pros do it, so should you. Mark your board so you know which way is the front or the back. In case you didn't know, most skateboards aren't 100% symmetrical front to back. Typically the tail is a bit closer to the ground than the nose to have better pop and a faster response, and the nose is a little bit bigger than the tail to have more room to catch your foot when doing tricks. So it's important to know which direction your board is facing when you ride it. And there are multiple ways you can distinguish the front from the back of your board. When you're setting it up, whatever way you read the size of the deck tells you which way is the top or the bottom. You can also tell by the graphics, by the way that you read them, or by the way they're designed to be oriented. But you typically can't easily tell what's the front or the back just by looking at it when you're skating. So it's very useful to mark the front or back of your board, whatever seems fit to you, to distinguish which one's which. You can do this by either having a different colored screw up front for your hardware, or only having 3 screws in front of your board instead of 4 in the back, or just having a grip tape that helps you orient your board, or really just anything you want. You can literally get a Sharpie and just mark front and back. It's as easy as that. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter all that much, but it is just one of those weird psychological things that some skaters really get into, myself included. Avoid grip thumb by sanding down the front of your board. You ever just get that freshly complete and the grip tape is of all things just too grippy, and now it just feels like you've peeled all the skin off your thumb? It's happened to me before, and I'm sure it's happened to many of you other skaters out there, but there is a very simple way to avoid this. All you have to do is, while you're setting up your board, sand down the places that you hold your board with. You don't have to do it too excessively either. Just get a piece of grip tape that you already cut off and give it a few good scrubs where you want to, and you're good to go. Using deodorant as wax. Everybody should have some deodorant on hand, and most skaters should have some skate wax, but not everybody does. In which case, you can always fall back on deodorant. It has the exact same effect on surfaces as wax does, but at a drawback that it comes off a bit easier. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because, I mean, if you just want to skate a ledge, then doot doot, there you go, done. Now, I wouldn't personally use my own deodorant as wax because, well, it'd probably get pretty dirty really quick, and I don't want to have pieces of sand in my armpits. It just doesn't seem comfortable. But this is more of a life hack to use on the road when you really need some wax, but you just don't have any, or you can't buy it from any skate shop nearby. After all, you can find some deodorant almost anywhere. In addition to deodorant, you can also use candles and crayons, which will get the job done, but you can skip all the paint and colorful marks on your skateboard and whatever you're skating by going to your local store of almost any kind and getting some paraffin wax, which is most likely the best bang for your buck out there. It's also very easy to find because it's used for a huge variety of things, from candle making to solid fuel propellant for hydro rocket motors. Yes, that's true. I'm not even making that up. You can look it up yourself. You can even make your own wax, but why even bother at that point when you can literally get 9 pounds of this stuff for $25 from Michael's? Find hidden skate spots you might not know about. Everyone knows that skateboarding at a skate park will teach you a lot, and it will provide a safe environment for you to learn all your new tricks when you're skateboarding. But as you eventually get better, you will inevitably get tired of skate parks and will want to just try out a different challenge. And ultimately, the best way to do this is just go out and try street skating. And while you can go out and just find new spots by exploring your city or your town or wherever you live, sometimes you just can't really seem to find any really good spots that you like. And that's where you can use the Skate Spots app, Spot Sesh, or Shred Spots, or whatever other app you want. There's a ton of apps and websites like this out there. But the premise of them pretty much is that local skaters contribute to posting local locations of skate spots that they have found in your area. And this can save you a lot of time and also be a lot more productive than just looking around in person or just trying to find them in Google Maps. So next time that you want to find a new spot to skate, try this out. Drink water. I know that you all know that you need water to survive, but sometimes we forget how much we really need it, especially when you're skating. And while sure, you can get away without drinking water, why would you want to? You're going to be sweaty, you're going to be thirsty, you're going to be tired, and overall, it's going to make your sessions a lot shorter because you run out of steam a lot faster. Steam, water. You need water. You're made out of like 80% water. Just take a break and drink some water and just stay hydrated. It's honestly overlooked, but it's one of the most important things for skateboarding, especially when you're skating a lot and getting lots of small injuries here and there. Drinking water won't only make you heal faster, it's actually true, it does make you heal faster, because of all the biology and science stuff that the water does, but it'll also reduce injuries in the first place because you won't be as fatigued when you skate. It's just an overall infinite loop of goodness. Try new things. I can assume if you watched this far, you're either a big fan of my channel or you're a beginner skater that's just learning the ropes like I was, and still kind of am. Just remember not to be scared to try new things. Skateboarding is all about pushing the boundaries for what you think is possible for yourself. And aside from learning new tricks, it'll also challenge you to face other fears you might not have expected, such as skating at a skate park you don't know anybody at, or even just learning the basics. Don't worry about people judging you if you're new. At the end of the day, no one will judge you if you're learning. Everybody was there before. And don't be too hard on yourself if you fail to meet your expectations. Because at the end of the day, we're all just here to have fun. And for a last life hack, which may be the most important one, is to not forget to subscribe and watch my other videos because I've put out a lot of useful content for you new skaters, and simply watching my videos will teach you a lot about skateboarding. Anyway, that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.